Coming up on Arirang News, South Korea says it's received messages from North Korea about the North's shooting and killing of a South Korean man earlier this week. Kim Jong-un has apologized to the South Korean people for the incident. Social distancing is being strengthened nationwide in South Korea for the Chuseok holiday, when millions of people typically travel, raising the risk of COVID-19 spreading uncontrolled. The measures will last for at least 2 weeks. And because of the stricter social distancing seen in the Seoul area in recent weeks, consumer sentiment has fallen by the most since March. It's 5 p.m. here in Seoul. Thank you for tuning in to Arirang News. I'm Devin Whiting. Less than 24 hours after South Korea demanded a full explanation from North Korea over the fatal shooting of a South Korean national earlier this week, Pyongyang has sent notification to Seoul with what it says are the results of an investigation. The North also sent a message from its leader, Kim Jong-un, who said he feels sorry for the incident, which he called unsavory. For details, we connect to our presidential correspondent, Kim Min-ji. Min-ji, fill us in.
Devin, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has apologized for what he called the unsavory shooting of the South Korean man. That came in a formal notice this morning addressed to Seoul's top office from the North's United Front Department, which deals with inter-Korean affairs. Now, it comes just a day after South Korea demanded an explanation for the shooting and that the North take responsible measures. Here's South Korea's National Security Advisor.
Conveyed the message that Chairman Kim Jong-un feels very sorry for greatly disappointing President Moon Jae-in and the South Korean people with the unsavory incident in North Korean waters, rather than helping them amid their suffering from the coronavirus.
The North said the unidentified man crossed the western sea border illegally, floating on an unspecified kind of material, and he did not respond sincerely to verbal security checks. North Korean troops, it said, later fired 2 blanks when they believed that the man attempted to flee. Then they fired 10 more shots from a distance of about 40 to 50 meters in accordance with the Manual for Maritime Border Security. And after firing those shots, they inspected the floating material but only found a large amount of blood and not the man's body. The North said they burned the floating material as part of emergency quarantine measures. It also said it will be taking measures to prevent the recurrence of such an incident and take extra care and necessary safety measures so that the case doesn't hurt the trust and respect built between the two Koreas. Now, when asked whether the top office sees the North's message as meeting all its demands, that is to provide a full explanation, apology, and measures to prevent such incident from happening again, it said that further analysis is needed. For one thing, North Korea's account of what happened to the dead man's body, that it was lost, contradicts the South Korean military's announcement that the North burned it.
Now, Min-ji, the connection we've got isn't so good right now, so we're having a little trouble hearing you. But I do understand there's been a recent exchange of letters between the leaders of the two Koreas. Tell us about that.
Yes, that's right. The top office said that the exchange took place earlier this month. It said President Moon sent a letter first expressing his respect for Chairman Kim, who has been at the forefront of dealing with COVID-19, the prolonged rainy season, and a string of typhoons. He expressed regret that the two Koreas cannot help each other in these trying times, adding that he hopes all Koreans are able to overcome these difficulties soon and wish for the well-being of Kim and his family. Just days later, Chairman Kim sent a reply thanking Moon for the letter and his warm wishes. Kim, too, said he wishes for the well-being and happiness of all Koreans and expressed concern for Moon's health. He added that he hopes the hardships of this year passes by as soon as possible. Back to you, Devin.
All right, Kim Min-ji reporting there. Thank you for that. Now, in other news, South Korea will be implementing stricter social distancing in the capital area and the surrounding region during the Chuseok holiday, which starts next week. Restaurants and coffee shops, for instance, will have to keep their customers a meter apart. And nationwide now, facilities designated as high risk will have to close. Choi Won-jong has the details.
South Korea is going to impose tighter social distancing measures during a special virus prevention period for the upcoming Chuseok national holiday. The health authorities on Friday expressed concerns over the potential resurgence of large-scale infections as people travel to visit their families. From September 28th to October 11th, the government will keep social distancing at level 2 in the capital area, meaning 11 high-risk facilities such as nightclubs, hostess bars, and singing rooms will be closed. But these measures will now be nationwide for clubs, bars, and collective discos for at least the first of the 2 weeks, and potentially longer at the discretion of local governments. In the capital area, restaurants, coffee shop, and bakers with 20 or more seats will have to keep customers at least a meter apart. If impossible to do so, customers need to sit 1 seat apart or even a table apart with barriers between them. And customers at movie theaters also have to sit apart, wear masks, and sign an entry log. Under social distancing level 2, the government will continue to prohibit gatherings of more than 50 people indoors and more than 100 people outdoors. That means none of the usual festivals or traditional games. There will, however, be opportunity to go to public facilities like museums and libraries, which have been closed but will reopen on a limited basis. During the holiday, people are allowed to use PC rooms and eat food inside. However, people are still not allowed to go to sporting events, and most church services will still have to be online. 최원정, Arirang News.
South Korea's consumer sentiment has fallen in September for the first time in 5 months, mostly due to the stricter social distancing measures. According to the Bank of Korea, the composite consumer sentiment index was at 79.4, down 8.8 points from last month. A reading below 100 indicates there are more pessimists than optimists. This is the second biggest monthly drop in 9 years. The biggest was in March. Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined on the line by Mr. Daniel Yu, global strategist at Yuanta Securities. Mr. Yu, thank you for coming on today.
Good afternoon.
Well, stocks in New York closed a little bit higher on Thursday. The big tech stocks up around 1%, Tesla up 2%. What's the story in the global markets?
Yes, as you said, U.S. market has recovered slightly, but it continued to show some volatility on Thursday. The main reason for the rise was because the tech sector rebounded from the recent losses, and also the fresh data showed new home sales exceeded an annual rate of 1 million for the first time since 2006, easily beating the market expectations. And market kind of shrugged off the claims that the initial claims for the unemployment came in at about 870,000 last week, higher than expectation of 840,000. Clearly, there's more additional boosting measure is needed, and Secretary Treasury Stephen Mnuchin said that the still additional relief package for the pandemic is needed. And because of that, I think that the market took it as a positive news that some kind of boosting measure will come in quite soon. All in all, market seems to continue to show some sideline trade because we are not sure exactly who will win the election on November 3rd. Depending on who will win, level of the boosting measures will be decided, and also what kind of the tax rate will be applied in the future. So all in all, it's kind of sentiment-wise waiting and see, and market might not be moving in any major direction until probably election if this kind of trend of economic news comes through.
Well, the Kospi and the Kosdaq recovering a little bit today as well. Looks like foreign investors selling the Kospi, buying the Kosdaq. What happened in the local markets?
Right. As you said, foreign investors are selling Korea because Korean won appreciated very quickly last Friday. But ever since then, we start to see U.S. dollar index rising, and it has reached well above 94.5 level. And due to this, Korean won is not appreciating anymore, and it's actually depreciating. And this is the result for the foreign net selling. Also, in terms of economic condition-wise, we're not sure how quickly Korea will recover from this pandemic crisis because of the additional new cases for the COVID-19. All in all, the government have decided to boost through the additional fiscal policy, but that policy-wise, we have to wait and see how much impact we'll have. All in all, overall market seems to be trying to look for some kind of trend at this point in time because Korean market has been one of the biggest, strongest performing sector, performing index amongst all the global markets. As the Korean Kospi rose 80% and the Kosdaq rose 100% from bottom to peak.
Yes, remarkable. And now with social distancing, though, strengthened recently in Korea, we see that consumer sentiment this month is down by quite a bit. Social distancing has, of course, been eased somewhat since then, but what do you see happening here?
Yes, clearly this is putting some dent to the overall sentiment. As you said, the composite consumer sentiment index dropped to 79.4 in September from 88.2 in the previous month. And all 6 sub-indexes also declined as well. The domestic economic conditions, the future housing spending, housing income, living standards, all in all, it seems to be showing a declining trend. Clearly, continuation of COVID-19 issues putting some pressure for Korean consumers. Also, we know that the consumer debt as a percent of GDP has reached highest level in history, well above 90% territories. All that is putting pressure for Korea. What we need to see is the global economy recovering, resulting into export numbers coming through on positive scale. If that actually happened, then Korea will be relatively better. But so far, it seems that we have to wait and see what the numbers are looking like in the future.
All right, Mr. Yu, we'll have to leave it there for today. Have a great weekend. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. You too.
A highly anticipated exhibition has opened in Seoul by the renowned art collective teamLab. It's about life and the importance of taking the time to appreciate its beauty, a message perhaps we could all use to hear right now. Our Kim Bo-kyung sends this report from Dongdaemun Design Plaza.
Combining nature and digital technology, teamLab's latest exhibition, teamLab Life, hopes to inspire people and help them empty their minds. Through this exhibition, the interdisciplinary multinational group of specialists, such as artists, architects, and CG animators, explore the confluence of art, nature, and technology. The theme of their exhibition in Dongdaemun Design Plaza is life.
In this exhibition, we've explored the continuity of life. Amid these tiring times of COVID-19, we hope this exhibition can make people feel how beautiful life can be and think positively of the fact that we are alive regardless of what circumstances we're in.
Animals made up of flowers roam around the wall. One sector shows how animals live inside the ecosystem, all embraced by the beating earth. Another area shows 12 types of flowers blooming and withering along with the change of the seasons. This video projection artwork is titled Black Waves Immersive Mess. If you follow the spiral path, you'd feel as though you have become the part of the waves, overwhelmed by their power. One member of the group says they have changed the space structure by putting a great wall in the middle so that people can feel immersed in the turbulent waves. The highlight of the exhibition is a waterfall full of flowers.
The waterway changes at the spot where people are standing, and the water parts. Flowers blossom too. The more people, the more flowers come to life. It lets us consider others' existence positively.
teamLab's exhibition runs until next year, April. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
For the first time in 15 years, 2 South Korean pitchers in the major leagues have led their teams to victory on the same day, ending their seasons on a high note. Yoo Han-jin of the Toronto Blue Jays and Kim Kwang-hyun of the St. Louis Cardinals both picked up wins on Thursday. Liu was first with a 4-1 victory against the New York Yankees, pitching 7 shutout innings. Kim threw 5 innings in a 4-2 win over the Milwaukee Brewers. The last time 2 South Korean pitchers won on the same day was in 2005. That was Park Chan-ho of the San Diego Padres and Seo Jae-ung of the New York Mets. And And that brings us to the end of this newscast. Thank you for watching. More live news coming your way at 7 p.m. Korea time.